No DQ Galaxy. We are live with a recap of the 2023 Elimination Chamber Premium Live event in Montreal, Canada. One of the most anticipated WWE B pay-per-view events of all time. Excuse me, Premium Live event. Anyways, I hope everybody is doing well out there. Let's get right into this recap. We are not wasting any time. We started off hot with the women's Elimination Chamber match. Asuka versus Liv Morgan versus Nikki Cross versus Raquel versus Natalya versus Carmella. We had Liv Morgan and Natalya starting off the match. Liv sent Natalya into the cage several times, kissed her on the cheek. Natalya threw Liv into the pod several times. You then had Raquel coming in. She did her power moves. Nikki Cross came in. Nikki was acting crazy, did not even take off her ring jacket. Carmella came in at number 5, and she tried to be the opportunist, tried to pin the other participants. Carmella even went back into her pod, and then Raquel slammed Nikki through the pod, and then Raquel pinned Nikki to score the first elimination. Later on, Liv Morgan came off the top of the pod with a sunset flip powerbomb to Raquel. Carmella attempted once again to steal the pin. Asuka was the final entrant, and she went right after Carmella. Crowd was chanting, "Asuka's gonna kill you." Liv went for the Oblivion on Natalya, but got hit with a kick by Carmella. And then Natalya put the sharpshooter on Liv. Asuka came in and applied the arm submission at the same time on Liv. Liv had to pass out. She had nowhere to go. She did not tap out. She passed out, and thus she was eliminated. Match continued with the remaining participants. Natalya tried to put the sharpshooter on Asuka, but got hit by Carmella with a super kick. She was pinned, and then Asuka and Carmella hit Raquel with numerous kicks, and they both pinned Raquel at the same time. It was down to Asuka and Carmella. Obvious how this was going to end, but Carmella held her own for a little bit. They traded some near falls, and then eventually Asuka got the win, put on the Asuka lock, and Carmella tapped out. Right person won. Very solid match here with the ladies. I enjoyed it. I thought it was maybe the best women's Elimination Chamber match to date. Good stuff here from the ladies to kick off the show, and looking forward to Asuka versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 39. Next up, we had Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley. This was the rubber match, and it was pretty much every Brock Lesnar match. Big move, big move, big move, big move, as you would expect. And even the announcers said this match is only ending with either a spear or an F5. And Lashley hit multiple spears. Tried to get on the Hurt Lock at first, could not do it. Lesnar hit the F5. Lashley kicked out of it. Crowd chanted one more time. Lesnar hit a second one, but then Lashley avoided a third attempt, and Lashley hit another spear. The crowd booed. They were not into Bobby Lashley whatsoever. So Lashley was apparently the heel here. He puts on the Hurt Lock, and Lesnar cannot get out of it. He goes for a low blow because he cannot get out of the Hurt Lock. Thus, he gets disqualified. We had a disqualification, the so-called rubber match to settle the score. No hurt business, no angle, just a DQ. Was not a fan. I'm never a fan of doing DQs on the pay-per-views. To me, it's just a cheap finish. Like, what was the point of the whole match, especially when it's supposed to be the rubber match, and Brock Lesnar is supposed to be the baby face. I mean, it makes Lashley look strong, but now what? I thought we were getting Bray Wyatt versus the winner of this match. So because of a DQ, now Bobby Lashley is facing Bray Wyatt. Like, one would think they're doing another Brock Lesnar Bobby Lashley match, right? Maybe a fight pit, but like, I'm confused now. Like, this just confused me even more, because it doesn't really make sense for this to lead to Bobby Lashley versus Bray Wyatt. Like, I want to see them settle the score. That's what I thought this match was going to be. So I don't know what this means now. What's next for Brock Lesnar? Jason EXP sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, is Brock Lesnar going back to his ranch now? I mean, I would expect him at WrestleMania, right? It's WrestleMania. So I would imagine he's going to face somebody. Don't know if it's Gunther. Don't know if they're doing the fight pit with Bobby Lashley. But then if that's the case, what was the point of the Bray Wyatt promo? Jamie Baxter sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Bray and Howdy versus the Hurt House. I have no idea if they're going to do a tag team match. Like, it's confusing to me. I figured Bray Wyatt would just face somebody like Karrion Kross or Damian Priest. So yeah, easily the worst match of the night. Disappointing. I was hoping, like, if they were going to do a screwy finish to protect Brock, reunite the Hurt Business. Like, what are you doing here? It's Elimination Chamber. It's a major event, the last big stop until WrestleMania. Like, if you're going to do the Hurt Business reunion and you want to protect Brock Lesnar and defeat, this would have been the time. So, yeah, it did not make any sense to me. I thought it was pretty weak. Psycho Jet Black sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, seriously, I have no desire to watch Bray Wyatt versus Brock Lesnar nor Lashley, as I could see him having a decent match without smoke and mirrors. Don't waste our time. Yeah, and like I said, it would make more sense for Bray to face somebody like a Karrion Kross. Like, I feel like they would mesh more together, since Karrion Kross kind of has that supernatural, not exactly, but he has the big entrance and he's more of a character. Bobby Lashley, he's like a combat fighter. You know, he doesn't mesh well with a Bray Wyatt, who's more about the character and doing the gimmicks and such. DYEV sent in a $7 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Says, just leaving the Bell Center. Great show. It was a spectacle for sure. And that crowd, I mean, Montreal, one of the best WWE crowds, period. And they definitely brought the energy for this show. They were chanting all sorts of things throughout the evening. Hamp Connell sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Hamp says, my guess is Bray Wyatt calls them both out and they take turns doing their finishers on Bray and Uncle Howdy, officially burying them. Well, I'll tell you what, if Vince McMahon was in charge, then I would say that that's a very realistic possibility. I could see that if Vince was running the show, but my feeling is that will probably not happen. Jamie sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Jamie. Says, Bray Wyatt versus Edge would be cool. I agree. Like, that would be a solid match, although really the WrestleMania match is versus Finn Bálor, and we'll get to those guys here in just a few moments. Now, after the match was over, we had Brock Lesnar hitting Lashley with another F5, gave him an F5 through the table, which got a holy shit chant. And the referee also got an F5 on the floor. Lesnar attacked the referee in the ring first with an F5 and then gave him a second one on the outside of the ring. So babyface Brock Lesnar has to hit a low blow to not get beat. And then he beats up the referee, I guess, because he's the cool babyface. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, the whole thing I thought was a letdown. Now we move on to Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. This was a really good match. I enjoyed this a lot. There was one botch that was significant, and we'll get to that here in a few moments. Beth Phoenix was great here. She wore Bull Nakano face paint. She was yelling, "Eat this, bitch," at Rhea Ripley. They were trading blows. Dominic was on the outside getting involved, and the crowd was great. The crowd was chanting, "F you, Dominic." And then there was a funny part where Edge chased Dominic to the back, and then Dominic came back out. The crowd was chanting singing the goodbye song, and Dominic came back out there and got huge boos for that. That was really funny. But yeah, lots of cool moments in this match. Edge and Beth Phoenix working well together, dueling execution submissions. But then when Dominic was out there, Rhea Ripley got some brass knucks from Dominic and used it on Edge, placed Finn Balor on top of Edge, and this was the botch. The referee counted 1, 2, and 3. Well, kind of. Like, I think Beth was supposed to break up the pinfall and was late, and the referee kind of stopped counting 3 because Beth did not break up the pin in time. But yeah, they were late on it. So other than that, I enjoyed the match very much. It did take the crowd out of it a little bit for a few minutes, but they got the crowd back by the end of it. And Rhea tried to hit Beth with the concerto, shades of the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. And yeah, Edge did kick out right at the very end when he realized that there was an issue, split-second decision there, but still it was obvious that, Beth was supposed to break up the pinfall. So Edge took out Dominic with a suicide dive. Beth hit Rhea with a glam slam on the floor, and then back in the ring, Edge was able to pin Finn Balor with the help of Beth Phoenix. They hit the Shatter Machine, which of course is the Big Rig, FTR's finisher. Very interesting that they would use this move to end the match. And sure enough, Edge and Beth Phoenix picked up the win, which I did expect. But very good match here. And by the way, Ariel Helwani was on this show, and Michael Cole called him the world-renowned unbiased reporter. Now, Tony Khan went on Twitter and said that Tony Khan said that Ariel Helwani is biased. Basically, that's what he said. So that was quite amusing. Walter Cruz sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. Says, "No DQ Galaxy, like and share the video, tell a friend, and subscribe. If you haven't already, hashtag stick to my shtick, and damn, Lashley ruined my clean sweep." He did for a lot of us, I must say. We were all picking Brock Lesnar, I think, with a few exceptions. Jason EXP sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, "Do you think we'll get Demon Finn Balor at WrestleMania?" Not that Finn Balor, since he's a heel now, but perhaps we'll see a new incarnation of Finn Balor. I would be a fan of that. I'm curious to see what they do, but I expect to see Edge versus Finn Balor, maybe Hell in a Cell at WrestleMania. And yeah, maybe Balor has to create this new alter ego to step up his game against Edge. And then we had the men's Elimination Chamber match. Austin Theory defending the United States Championship against Seth Freakin Rollins, Johnny Gargano, Bronson Reed, Damian Priest, and Montez Ford. Rollins and Gargano started the match, which I believe was the first time they ever locked up in a WWE ring. IBZ sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. No comment, though. Crowd was singing Rollins' song. They were also chanting Johnny Wrestling. Theory was the third person in. And Rollins and Gargano were working over Theory, double teaming him. Theory was trying to get each one to side with him, but Rollins called him a piece of shit. And Rollins and Gargano ended up beating down Theory in his own pod. He tried to hide, and that did not work out too well for him. Then we had Damian Priest in at number 4. And the crowd was really getting into this match, chanting "This is awesome" multiple times. Bronson Reed came in, cleaned house on everybody, hit a Samoan drop on both Rollins and Gargano at the same time. And Reed ended up sending Priest into the chamber wall and then splashed Priest into the chamber pod. And then finally, Montez Ford was the 6th and final person to enter. There's a crazy moment where Gargano was on Bronson Reed's shoulders and Rollins was going for a doomsday device and he hit it, but then Gargano managed to turn it into a poison rana on Reed. It was quite scary. I thought that could have ended very bad, but fortunately it didn't. And that was another big moment. Holy shit chant from the crowd. And Walter Cruz sent in $2. Thank you, Walter. Says, I called the chamber down to a T, even the ending. That you did. So hats off to you, Walter. And Chris Sims sent in a $5 super chat. Jumping ahead here a little bit. So, Chris, I'm going to go back to that super chat at the end, just so I don't jump ahead here too far. And I agree with Michael Wayne. Montez Ford was great in this match. He did a lot of big things, including climbing up to the top of the chamber, the roof basically, and falling down onto everybody below. And then there was another big moment where Rollins and Gargano were on the top. Rollins tried to powerbomb Gargano off the top of the pod, but Gargano countered with a Hurricane Rana, sent Rollins down onto everybody. And essentially everybody had to work together to eliminate Bronson Reed. Rollins hit a stomp. And then Ford hit the big splash. And they finally got the pin to eliminate Bronson Reed. And Damian Priest pinned Johnny Gargano with the Razor's Edge. And Montez Ford eliminated Priest with a top rope blockbuster. And it was down to 3. Rollins ended up hitting Ford with a curb stomp. And then Theory pinned Ford. Officials came down to check on Ford. The idea was that Ford was hurt from the curb stomp. And I have to say, Ford did a really good job selling because people were thinking that he was really hurt here. But of course, it was all part of the big finish here. IBZ said that his super chat was meant to be about Ray coming out at the end to set up a WrestleMania match with Dominic. Yeah, they could have done that, but Ray is facing Karrion Kross on Friday, and maybe they didn't want to draw too much attention away from Edge versus Finn Bálor and do too much in that one match. So as the officials were taking Austin Theory out of there, that's when Logan Paul showed up. The cage door was open. Logan Paul came in, hit the buckshot lariat on Rollins, and then hit Rollins with a curb stomp. Easy pickings for Austin Theory. He pinned Rollins with the A-Town down. Great match here. I mean, it was predictable, but very entertaining. Although I almost wanted to see Theory win clean. Like, they did such a great job with everybody. Every participant got to shine. But if Theory had won this clean, like, it would have really elevated him. He ultimately had the help to win. But man, I was almost hoping it would have just been a clean finish. I think Rollins would have been fine losing. I know they have to build up the heat with Logan Paul, but still, I think I would have preferred a clean finish, but it is what it is. And Walter Cruz sent in a $2 super chat, says, "What's up with all the Rock references by Ford?" Good question. I mean, he did tease the people's elbow, just trying to have some fun out there, I suppose. Anyways, moving on here to the main event, the match that everybody has been waiting for the past several weeks and even months. Sami Zayn challenging Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship in Montreal, Sami Zayn's hometown. As you would expect, massive heat for Reigns and massive cheers for Sami Zayn. Now, real quick, Jason EXP sent in a $5 super chat, says, Theory issued an open challenge on Raw at the press conference, which is going on right now. Do you think John Cena will show up? No, he's doing a movie. I don't see Cena showing up until at best a week or two before WrestleMania. So yeah, I do not think he will be there. He is, I believe, in Australia doing the movie, but yeah, he's not going to be there. So anyways, these guys were milking these crowd reactions. Apparently Edge answered the challenge, so it's going to be Edge in Theory on Raw. So there you go. Crowd was chanting F you Roman repeatedly. Ole's song. Reigns was out there taunting Sami Zayn's wife. She was at ringside. I mean, they spent 4 minutes just milking the crowd reactions. I feel like this moment went longer than the actual Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley match. So Reigns dominated. Zayn came in, got his moments of offense. He stayed in the fight. Reigns was trash talking. He was yelling at Sami Zayn's wife, and Zayn started to make a comeback and kissed his wife, which got a huge pop. Every time Reigns got the upper hand, crowd was booing him out of the building. Fans were great here, like one of the most heated WWE matches in many years. And then, Zayn got some near falls, hit a haluva kick, but Reigns kicked out. Reigns escaped to the outside, and then Reigns went for a spear, but Zayn moved. Reigns crashed through the barricade, and then back in the ring, Zayn hit the Blue Thunder Bomb, got the win to win the title. Nope, Reigns kicked out. You knew that was coming. And then, what else you knew was coming? The ref bump. First ref bump, I should say. Referee accidentally knocked down. And then we had Jimmy Uso showing up. So yes, Jimmy Uso back in Canada, was able to get into the country. Jimmy coming out there, hit the Uso splash, several super kicks, put Reigns on top of Zayn, but Zayn kicked out. And then Zayn took out Jimmy with a haluva kick, which is kind of funny because Jimmy Uso was down for about 5, 6, 7 minutes from this one move, which was kind of ridiculous if you think about it. And Reigns managed to hit the spear because of the distraction. However, Zayn kicked out. Reigns kept trash talking, kept running his mouth. And then the second referee was accidentally hit with a Superman punch. And that's when Paul Heyman grabbed the steel chair to Roman Reigns. And Jey Uso showed up. He popped up in the ring. And what I thought was going to happen did not happen. So Reigns wanted Jey to make a decision, choose a side. He handed the chair to Jay. Jay did not use the chair. Reigns got very upset. Reigns pie-faced him. And then Sami Zayn went for the spear, but Reigns avoided it. And Jey Uso accidentally got hit by Sami Zayn with the haluva kick. So they did not pull the trigger with the Sami Zayn Jey Uso split, which I thought was the obvious and right decision to advance this storyline. Where do we go now? So anyways, we're not done yet here. Reigns was able to hit the spear and got the 1-2-3 victory. After the match was over, Jimmy Uso attacked Sami Zayn, kept the beatdown going. But then Kevin Owens showed up in Montreal, of course, getting the big pop. Kevin Owens coming down there, beating the crap out of Reigns and Jimmy Uso. Jey Uso was out. He was wiped out from the one spear. He was down for several minutes. And Owens hit stunners to both Reigns and Jimmy, and then took Jimmy to the outside, pop-up power bomb through the announce table, which would have been cool if they had already not done the same thing with Brock Lesnar, putting Bobby Lashley through the table on the same show earlier. So Owens stunned Reigns, and then Heyman tried to attack Owens, which obviously Owens no-sold. Crowd chanted, "You effed up" at Heyman. Heyman ended up getting hit with a stunner. And then after Heyman was taken out with the stunner, Reigns was in the corner. Kevin Owens stepped aside, and Zayn took out Reigns with the haluva kick for the happy ending to the show. All right, so this is going to be unpopular. I know this is going to be a downer for some people, but I was not a big fan of this ending, and I actually agree with Virtue. Overbooked main event. This was a simple booking decision. Ref bump. One ref bump. Heyman gives the chair to Reigns. Jey Uso shows up, defying Roman Reigns. Jimmy Uso does not defy Roman Reigns, but Jey does. Jey shows up, gets the chair, acts like he's going to hit Reigns, but hits Sami Zayn instead. 1-2-3, Roman wins. Roman and Jey beat down Zayn after the match and just maximize that heel heat to end the show. Kevin Owens coming out there. Now, some people were suggesting this for the big moment. My problem with it, where was he when all these shenanigans were going on? When Jimmy Uso showed up, Kevin Owens should have been there right away. Was he taking a shit? Constipated? Was he jerking off backstage? Where was he? Like, I'm thinking this in my mind, like, why did he not come out until way after the match was over? Like, it makes no sense to me. So I hate to say it, but I think they kind of blew it with this ending. This should have been designed to build the heat for the Usos versus the Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and really set up the heat between Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. Like, what are we doing now? Like, what's the match for WrestleMania? Like, I don't even know now. Like, I don't know where they're going, and people can say, be patient, there's 5 weeks left, but this was where to get the maximum heat. They can do the Jey Uso Sami Zayn split on a random SmackDown, and it will get heat, but it will not have gotten the heat. I can promise you, it will not get the heat that they would have gotten in Montreal. So I think missed opportunity. And unfortunately, I have to lower my letter grade for the show. So let's get to some super chats. Chris Sims sent in $5, says, I think they could have had Sami win and have a triple threat match with Sami versus Roman versus Cody at WrestleMania, but Sami was in his hometown and lost. Well, Sami losing in his hometown was pretty much inevitable. I never really thought Sami was going to win, despite how much the crowd was organically getting behind him. You know, they weren't going to end Roman Reigns' run 900 plus days as champion before WrestleMania. And it might not even happen at WrestleMania at this rate. He might get to 1,000 days. I almost feel like Virtue might be onto something. Like, I don't even know if Cody's going to be the guy to do it. Building Nexus sent in a $2 super chat, said, are we still getting Sami Zayn and KO versus the Usos? Your guess is as good as mine at this point. Like, it should have been clear. This is the big show before WrestleMania to set up the main matches. Like, it would have been so much more effective to set up whatever they're doing with these guys on this show. So when Elimination Chamber is over, you know what's coming for WrestleMania. Now we really don't. But maybe that's their plan. Maybe they have a game plan, and like people are saying, you have to let it play out, give it time. We'll see. Andrew Watson with a $2 super chat says, why wouldn't KO come when the referees were down to help Sami win? He was jerking off. He was constipated. I don't know. Somebody ask him. If there's a press conference, somebody should ask that question to KO. Where were you when Sami needed you? Why didn't you serve justice? Why didn't you show up till afterwards? And Matt sent in a $2 super chat, says, KO waited till it was over, not during the match. Correct. He did not show up until after the match was over. Whatever. All right, we do have some more super chats here, so let me get to those. Hamp Connell sent in $5. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, I couldn't have said it better myself. Classic WWE wanting the Canadian fans to go home on a positive note. Yeah, it's like they're not committing. Either go for the full heel heat or go for the title change. Take the chance. Have Sami Zayn pull off the upset of the century. Like this is them not committing. They don't want to pull the trigger with Jey Uso and get the maximum heel heat, nor do they want to pull off the biggest pop in WWE history, perhaps, with Sami Zayn pulling off the upset. So yeah, I was disappointed. Jason EXP with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Cody versus Roman Reigns is a much better match at WrestleMania. I understand that Sami was loved, but ending Roman's run at Elimination Chamber would be insane. And I tend to agree with you on that. I think that they should have had Jey Uso screw Sami Zayn. Yes, that was what a lot of us were expecting, but to me, that's what made the most storyline sense. And yeah, they didn't do it. They didn't pull the trigger on that either. King JMO 2K11 sent in a $5 super chat, and this is a good point. 1,000 days is definitely the magic number. He can lose it to anyone after that. Yeah, like I'm not even convinced that Cody's going to win at WrestleMania. I mean, they're building up that story, but also, when is somebody ever going to have a chance to become champion for 1,000 days again? Like that may never happen again. So it's going to be really interesting. I don't think Cody winning is a guarantee at WrestleMania. And Jamie Baxter sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Jamie. I appreciate it. Says, can we take a minute to appreciate the 8-year run of Bruno Sammartino? Absolutely. And granted, it was a different era, but to be on top of a territory for that amount of time, like Bruno was the man, no doubt about it. And, you know, he was a legitimate draw. Like he would sell out Madison Square Garden on a regular basis for all those years. He had that consistency. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, I trust Triple H in storytelling more than Vince. Well, Triple H is not perfect. I mean, I know there are a lot of fans that think that he is the greatest thing to happen to WWE, and WWE has been better. But he's certainly not perfect, and nobody is. Nobody's going to be able to pull things off perfectly. And, they did such a great job at the Royal Rumble. I just felt like this wasn't the right way to go on this particular show, but could turn around here. We still have 5 weeks left until WrestleMania, like people say. Walter Cruz sent in a very generous $20 super chat. Thank you for that, Walter. I appreciate it. It says, KO should not have come out. Sami should have been on the KO show tomorrow, and KO can say, I told you so. I told you what would happen, and Sami apologizing and asking KO for help, but he says, I don't know, and they slowly build the reunion. Again, I'm with you on that. We talked about this when we did predictions. Like, they should have milked that longer. Why would KO even be so quick to forgive Sami Zayn? Which is why, if it was me, I would have not even had KO on the show whatsoever. Have it where Sami Zayn is on his own against the Usos. He needs some backup, and KO comes in but isn't exactly on board with Sami. Sami has to regain his trust. So, yeah, I would have gone that route. Matt sent in a $2 super chat, says, Triple H seems scared to have crowds leave angry and sad. I mean, the NWO, when WCW was at their peak, the NWO dominated, and they ended the show, and we did not get happy endings. NWO would be on top, and fans would be threatening to riot. Like, I wanted to see the fans get so angry they might even start throwing things in the ring. But they had to do the KO run in, and it just took away the heat. I wanted that heat. If not the feel-good moment of Sami winning, I wanted that heat. All right, so let's do the letter grade. I have not given the letter grade. I was really feeling good about the show at the beginning. Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley brought it down, unfortunately. And then it picked back up. Tag match was really good. Elimination Chamber was great. And the main event was a happening. It was a spectacle. It was very entertaining until the end. So overall, I am giving the show a B+. Could have been an A. And I'm disappointed, but I cannot give it an A or even an A- because of the end. B+, still a very good show overall, very entertaining. And, it is what it is, and we have to see how things play out. Maybe this is the right decision. Time will tell. Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Hamp. Says, off subject, but I recently watched Stone Cold's entire run as co-GM. Besides his feud with McMahon, I honestly thought it was Austin's best work. I agree with you. He was having fun with that. The stuff where he would be having the beer bashes with everybody, like, it was fun just going out there stunning people and not having to take bumps. Like, of course it's going to be a great time. So yeah, I think Austin really embraced that role well. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you enjoyed the live stream, I hope you'll consider subscribing at youtube.com/AaronRiffNoDQ. And if you did not like what I had to say, then my apologies, but trying to give a fair and honest review as much as possible. Stay tuned, everybody, for the No DQ review. I will let you guys know. Should be Sunday night, but the exact time and even the exact date are still tentative. But stay tuned to No DQ social media at No DQ DOTCOM. Psycho Jet Black with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, Let's say that Roman is defeated by Braun Breaker. Should Braun lose some matches so he's not accused of being a Goldberg clone / being shoved down our throats? Well, I think it's too soon for Braun Breaker. And it really should be somebody who's organically getting over, like a Sami Zayn. And, you know, Cody is organically over, although they're really trying to push this idea that Cody's chasing the dream. With Sami, they just kind of stumbled on it. I mean, I think the idea all along was for Sami to go babyface against the Bloodline, but I don't think people really expected Sami to catch on as much as he did. All right, guys, that's all I got for tonight. Time for bed. Thank you again for tuning in. Much love and appreciation to everybody out there. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest, and check out Jeff Meacham over at the Jeff Meacham Network on YouTube and his social media outlets. Hamp Connor with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. Says, why did Stone Cold abandon the sheriff gimmick? I just think it ran its course. You know, they did it for like 6 months and then they moved on to something else. Bottom line. All right, guys, I'm out. Have a great rest of your weekend and have a great week. Stay tuned for more. Take care, everybody. And remember, say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.